AOP members and friends, this is Peter Thomas, General Counsel of the National Association for the Advancement of Orthotics and Prosthetics, and also counsel to the OMP Alliance. Today is Friday, November 18th. It's been 6 weeks since our last webcast, and today I'm going to try to update people on three main things. The status of the Supercommittee in Congress, the orthotic and prosthetic documentation issues that are of concern to the field, and the appropriations bill that just passed this past few hours. First, with the Supercommittee, there's been tremendous activity in Washington throughout the course of November to try to reach a deal on a debt reduction package that was mandated by the agreement to increase the debt limit this past August 2nd, 2011. The deadline for that Supercommittee to come up with a recommendation that saves $1.2 trillion over the next 10 years is November 23rd. At this point, with that deadline just days away, many are saying that there's no way the Supercommittee can reach agreement in a bipartisan way by that time and report out a recommendation to the Congress that will be a meaningful recommendation. Hope springs eternal, and there is a chance still that they may be able to reach some type of agreement, whether it's a very modest agreement or whether it's a little bit larger is really anyone's guess, although the passage of time clearly suggests that the smaller package is more likely. But they may fail. They may fail to come to a conclusion on a recommendation. It's not clear exactly what would happen, how the markets would react, how the rating agencies for U.S. debt would react, but the fact is that they are hard at work. They're trying to reach bipartisan agreement. One of the big sticking points is basically tax increases, which of course the Republicans do not want to see, and reductions in entitlement spending for Medicare and Medicaid, and even Social Security, which Democrats don't want to see. And trying to bridge that divide is a difficult thing. We'll continue to keep you updated with the status of that. The appropriations bill for 5 federal agencies passed yesterday. That averts a government shutdown set to occur today unless they pass that bill. Both the House and Senate passed the bill with fairly wide margins, and the President is expected to sign it today. That leaves about $1 trillion still left to be appropriated for fiscal year 2012, which began on October the 1st. And so there's a continuing resolution in place right now that funds those federal agencies, like the Department of Health and Human Services, for instance, through December 16th of this year. So they still have, the Appropriations Committee and the Congress still has a lot of work to do on funding the federal government for 2012. Finally, on the OMP specific front, you should know that the OMP Alliance organizations, including AOPA, NAOP, and the others, met with CMS this past week to discuss a major issue that's emerging with respect to documentation of orthotic and prosthetic Medicare claims. The DMACCs have sent out word that the only evidence of medical necessity resides in the physician's file, and that the prosthetist or orthotist file, with respect to the clinical notes and all of the information in that file, are not to be looked at when determining medical necessity, that the true decision comes from the physician's file. This is a major problem, and it's an issue that we've taken directly to the top of CMS. We've just recently met with the top fraud buster at CMS, Peter Bedetti, to talk through ways to make sure that CMS sends the proper signal about the value of the documentation that orthotists and prosthetists have with respect to treatment of their patients, in the sense that they are the ones who put hands on the patient and have the clinical expertise to take good, solid clinical notes and render a decision with the physician on the medical necessity of orthotic and prosthetic care. We'll continue to follow up on all of those issues as we move into a very, very difficult time at the end of 2011 to bring together a whole host of major policy issues that are impacting our nation that are astir in Washington. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk with you in a few weeks. Bye now.